It was June, and there were just 2 weeks left of school. While we were excited about school ending soon, we were also worried. Our teacher was working on our final report cards, and we all knew that what teachers could be like during report card time. Everyone in class was on their best behavior. As Gordon said, "Screw up now and whammo." Miss Hawksworth might get even by writing the 12 most dreadful words ever on a report card. Your child would benefit greatly by doing extra schoolwork this summer to ensure that this calamity didn't happen to any of us. Gordon came up with a foolproof plan. The class would buy Miss Hawksworth an end-of-the-year present that we would give to our teacher before she signed the final copy of our report cards. Gordon collected $5 from each student, and after school on Friday, the 3 of us, along with several other kids from our class, headed over to the mall. "I wish I'd thought of this years ago," said Gordon. "When Miss H gets our gift, she will be so choked up and touched that she won't dare to put anything bad on our report cards." I grinned. Nobody could fake sincerely like good old Gordon. Everyone knew that our teacher loved and collected garden gnomes, so we headed straight for the garden center, where we picked out an expensive, special limited edition gnome. It was just enough money left over for a card. We picked out a really sappy card with enough room for all the kids to sign their names. The card said, "To the greatest woman in the world." We were certain would bring a tear to her eye. Even though the gift had been Gordon's idea, no one trusted him not to accidentally break or lose the gnome. So I was elected to keep the gift safe at my house until Monday, when we could present it to our teacher. I would bring the gift to school, and everyone would sign the card at recess. Arriving at my house before my parents got home for work, I took the box containing the garden gnome and the card up to my room and hid it under the bed for safekeeping. The next morning, I biked over to Polo's house to help him feed the calf he was raising for the county fair. When I returned home for lunch, I could hear my mother running the vacuum upstairs. My lunch was sitting on the table, so I sat down and dug in, and then it happened. Partway through my sandwich, the vacuum stopped, and a few seconds later I could hear my mother crying. Startled, I ran up the stairs to eavesdrop. To my dismay, the crying was coming from my room. Oh no, what had I done now?
Oh my God.
I cautiously
How
opened
long
the
is
door
it?
and saw my mom kneeling on the floor. The garden gnome stood beside her, and she was holding the card we had brought for our teacher. She turned around when she heard me coming into the room and exclaimed, "There you are, my sweet, sweet darling boy." She swept me into her arms and squeezed me until I could hardly breathe. I thought everyone had forgotten that today's my birthday, and all along you had this adorable gift and this lovely card hidden under your bed for me.
You're gonna finish this book, right?
I ruined your surprise, Andrew, but I was serious when my vacuum hit the box. I was too stunned to speak. 等会儿。
Oh my God.
还有3页。
哦，不读了，谢谢。
I was too sad to speak. Before I could think of a way to let her down gently, she sighed and continued. This is the nicest thing you've ever done for me. I just love this adorable garden gnome. I'll treasure it forever. And this is the most touching card anyone had ever given me. She tapped at her most eyes. I had accidentally made my mother the happiest mother in the world. How could I tell her I had forgiven all about her birthday, and that is the gift for my teacher. Scooping up the garden gnome as though it were the Stanley Cup, she carried it downstairs and put it on display in the center of the dining room table along with a card. I was doomed. Since I couldn't possibly hurt my mother's feeling and tell her the truth, I decided that I could just have to buy another garden gnome and card for Miss Hawksworth with my own money. I counted the money in my sock drawer and came up with $8. I knew it was a long shot, but I phoned Polo and told him what had happened, hoping he would have $92 he could lend me. Unfortunately, he was more broke than I was. Gordon managed to scrap up $20 when I phoned him, but it still wasn't nearly enough. What am I going to do? I asked him over the phone. For once, even Gordon didn't have a plan, but he said he would come right over and try to think of something. Gordon arrived at the same time that my father and sister came in for lunch. When my sister saw the garden gnome and the card sitting on the dining room table, she said, "Hey, I thought we were waiting until dinner to give Mom her presents." She dashed upstairs and came back down with a box of chocolate. "And my gift to you," my dad told my mother, "is that I am taking the whole family out for dinner to that new French restaurant you've been dying to try." My mom was thrilled. "And here, I thought you'd all forgotten my birthday," she said happily. Gordon nuzzled me and whispered, "I've got an idea." I followed him up to my room where he closed the door and told me his plan. It was perfect. 4 hours later, my family, dressed in their best clothes, peeled into the car and headed to the restaurant for my mother's birthday dinner. Before we left, I made sure that the back door was unlocked. I smiled to myself in the back seat. "Thank you, Gordon," I thought, while my family was enjoying our fancy French dinner. Gordon was going to sneak into our house and steal the garden gnome out of our dining room. Mom will be mad that her present was stolen, but at least she won't be broken-hearted, and you'll still get credit for giving her a really nice present," Gordon had said. It was the only solution. With Gordon in charge, what could go wrong? Apparently plenty. During dinner, when my mom excused herself to go to the ladies' room, my dad grinned and said he had a surprise for all of us. He hadn't told us earlier because he wasn't sure if my sister and I could keep a secret. He had planned a surprise party for my mother, right about now, he said, looking at his watch. Guests are letting themselves into our house during the front door. I made sure it wasn't locked before we left. They'll be hiding, ready to jump out and yell surprise the moment your mother walked through the front door. I couldn't speak. I knew our plan had sounded too easy. Gordon was going to get caught sneaking into my house and taking back the garden gnome. Everyone would think he was a thief. Gordon was going to kill me. My mother returned from the ladies' room, and my dad winked at my sister and me. I had suddenly lost my appetite. We finished our meal and headed home for my mother's surprise party. When we turned onto our street, I was relieved to see that there were no cars parking on the road near our house. Maybe no one's here yet, I prayed. Maybe Gordon slipped in through the back door, taking the garden gnome and is ready back home with it. Of course, I wasn't that lucky. As our car pulled into the driveway, I sped Gordon's bike in the bushes where he'd hidden it. Oh no, I thought. We're going to catch him in the action. Hey Mom, how about we all get a nice long walk around the neighborhood? I blurted out. My father shot me an angry glance. Not tonight, he snapped. I'm beat. Let's go inside. He held the front door open for my mother. She stepped through, and 30 people jumped out from behind the furniture and trapped and yelled, "Surprise!" My mother screamed with delight and jumped back. Everyone laughed and shouted, "Happy birthday!" And the party began. I pushed my way through the crowd of guests and headed straight for the dining room. The garden gnome was gone, and in its place stood a giant birthday cake with Happy 40th birthday written in pink icing. I began searching the house for Gordon. Where could he be hiding? I checked closets and basement, under the beds, and even outside, but there was no sign of him. He must have walked home with the gnome and left his bike in the bushes. I began to relax a little and enjoy the party. I ate 2 pieces of birthday cake and drank several glasses of punch. Before long, I needed to use the bathroom. There were several people waiting to use the bathroom ahead of me. And when it was finally my turn, I closed the door and locked it. I had just sat down on the toilet when a voice beside me made me jump into the air. Next to me, the lid to the clothes hamper opened, and out popped Gordon's head. "Gordon," I hissed, "what on earth are you doing in our dirty clothes hamper?" "What do you think I'm doing?" He hissed back. "I'm hiding. Why didn't you tell me about the party?" "I didn't know." "Well, lucky for you, I grabbed this just as the first guest came through the front door." He pulled out the garden gnome. I barely had time to hide in the laundry hamper. And then more people arrived, and I couldn't escape. Do you know how disgusting it is hiding in a dirty laundry hamper for 2 hours? Especially with all those people coming in here and going to the bathroom right next to you. "I'm really sorry, Gordon," I said, helping him out of the hamper and remove my dad's underwear from his head. I lowered Gordon from the bathroom window and carefully handed the gnome to him, where he made his escape. Later that night, when the party was over and the guests had all gone home, my mom came into my room and sat on the edge of my bed. "I'm afraid I have some really bad news for you, dear," she said. "One of the guests must have stolen the adorable garden gnome you gave me. I can't find it anywhere, and I really love it. Oh, well, I'll always have the memory of the wonderful things you give me on my 40th birthday."
哦，我的天哪！我以为是个3-5分钟的，你给我读了15分钟啊！
真的？
啊，我的天哪！